two giants of the Torah world over 750 years ago, Nachmanides and Maimonides, known as the Ramban with an N at the end and the Rambam with an M at the end. Two giants who knew that tradition dictates there are 613 mitzvahs. And they both took it upon themselves to figure out which are the 613 mitzvahs, because the Torah itself does not delineate which mitzvah or which commandment qualifies for this list. It's a complicated process, but they came up with a very different description of what is the first mitzvah. So Nachmanides, the Ramban, took what I would consider to be perhaps the most acceptable way that would be normal, what you would expect for a Jewish religion. He said the first mitzvah is to believe in God. Okay, sounds reasonable. But then Maimonides said something very different. Maimonides does not count belief in God as one of the 613 mitzvahs. Yeah. He says that the first mitzvah is Leida Sheyesham Motzei Yudishon, to know God and to get to know that He is the originator, the creator of all being, that this is in fact the first mitzvah. Doesn't mention belief. Now there are different interpretations. Some say that Maimonides is really saying that belief in God is the key or the foundation to all of the 613 mitzvahs. So that in fact, believing in any of the 613 mitzvahs without that foundation is on not a solid base. On the other hand, according to Nachmanides, one could say that belief in God, being the first mitzvah, is one of 613 mitzvahs. So if I don't believe in God, I could still fulfill the other 612 mitzvahs, because the other 612 mitzvahs each have a value by themselves, whether I believe or I don't believe. Maimonides goes into it, though, and says that this is the Yesodi Yesodis. This is really the foundation of all foundations, to get to know God, to have a relationship with God, to understand God, to know what it means that God brought the world into being, and to be able to delve into that knowledge. A lot of people say they don't believe in God, they're agnostic or they're atheist, but did they ever really spend time getting to know God, trying to fulfill that first mitzvah of Maimonides? What does it mean? What's it all about? We learn about other things. We learn about every subject under the sun. We go for PhDs, for MAs, for MBAs, so forth and so on. But to really spend time to understand what does a belief in God mean and how do we get to know this God is something that we don't necessarily spend adequate time considering, how potentially life-transforming and how at least how important such a question could be and should be to us as human beings trying to figure out what we're doing here or why we're doing what we do. So Maimonides took a lot of heat for not mentioning belief in God as the mitzvah and focusing, concentrating his understanding of this first mitzvah as being the mitzvah to get to know God. So let's take on the challenge. If he could take on that sacrifice and all the heat that he took, we can do a little bit of effort, as we will, as we go along in this, and perhaps any books that you might be interested in, anything online that you might want to check into, any Kabbalah online that might be of interest to you. Just as so, what does it mean that there is a God? And you know what? It doesn't have to be done with the idea that, if I find out that there's a God, or I find out that God is bigger than I thought God is, or more important in my life than I thought God is, that the repercussions of that could be great, and how is it going to change my life, or what's my new moral obligation, or am I going to have to become, quote unquote, religious, and so forth and so on. Don't worry. Just do it because it's an important mitzvah to know what is this God all about. Have a great day.